Welcome to this channel, and in this video we are going to be considering the topic variation. Variation is a mathematical relationship between what we call variables. It is a mathematical relationship, of course, mathematical relationship between variables, between variables. Now, in mathematics, there are two sets of variables, and they are the dependent variables, the dependent variable, and the independent variable. Just as the name implies, the dependent variable is the variable that depends on other variables in the operation for its own value. While the independent variable can just get its own value without depending, exclusive of every other variable in the system. So now, for example, let's take the line equation, for example, the gradient and intercept formula, which is y equal to mx plus c. Now looking at this equation, if my intercept, this is the gradient m and this is the intercept. Now if my intercept were taken to be 0, if c was equal to 0, it does means that y will be equal to mx plus 0, and so it throws out the c. Alright, here we can see that y is dependent on variable x for its value. So we can say, therefore, conclude that the y variable is called the dependent variable because it depends on x, and the x variable is independent of this y. So it's going to be called the independent variable. So this is called the dependent, and this is the independent variable. Alright, now how about the gradients? Now, because the gradient of a line is going to be, of a straight line, of course, is going to be constant all through the line, so it's going to be a constant. Now in variation, it is written as k, constant k, constant. Alright, so that is it. And this sort of variation here is called a direct variation. So it takes us to the types of variation that we have, the types of variation that we have. So firstly, there are two basic types of variation, and they are direct variation and the indirect variation. The direct variation and the indirect. Now, other ones that we adapted from these two are joint variation and partial variation. Now, both of these two still make use of the knowledge of these two in their to resolving questions on them. All right, now let us go into the two basic types of variation, the direct and the indirect. Now we're going to solve questions in the later videos, but I just want to give us a quick overview, a quick glance at what they are. Alright, for the direct variation now. The direct variation. The direct variation is a relationship that occurs between two variables such that when one variable increases, the other variable also increases. So it's more like if one is going in this direction, the other is also going in that direction. So the same factor is pushing them towards that direction. Okay, just that you may know, we talked about y equal to mx plus c. So for this relationship to be constant, to be possible, it's this constant that makes it possible. So I'm going to talk about that here. I said indirect variation. So if the one variable is going down, the other is going to go down. So if one variable is decreasing, the other variable will decrease since it's a direct variation. So now we can think of this as the laws of supply in economics, such that the higher the price of the commodity, the higher the supplier wants to supply into the market. So that is a direct variation. Then, so an example is the line equation that we had there, which is this. Now in variation, m is going to be k, so we have y equal to kx. Now I talked about k being the constant of proportionality is called the constant of proportionality. Now without this k, this relationship is impossible. So it is this k that is making every values of this y and x interrelated. Alright. The next one is the indirect variation. Indirect variation is the direct opposite of this. I said that in direct variation, one quantity goes up and increase, the other also increases. So, but the opposite, which is indirect variation, is if one quantity, two quantities are dependent on each other, for example, as the one quantity increases, the other quantity decreases. So it's more like a seesaw. So you have on a seesaw now, you have two people here, one person here and the other person here. So as this one person goes down, this one goes up, this person goes up. So this is an indirect variation. And as this person comes down, this one goes up. So that is an indirect variation. Another real life experience of indirect variation is the law of demand. So as the price increases, the consumer is willing to buy. So the consumer buys less, price increase. So you see that price goes up and the consumer's demand, the quantity demanded, will decrease. So that is an indirect variation. So that is much of it. But it should be noted that there is also a constant proportionality. Now let's talk about their notations now. Their notations. Now how are they written? So for example, for the direct variation, you will see questions like, if x varies directly as y, this is how it is written. X varies directly, now this is alpha, the first Greek alphabet, directly as y. So this is the way it is written. Now it will now be changed mathematically. You have just interpreted what it says. Now you will now change it into mathematical notation that it is x equal to. Now when you introduce equal to, you bring in your constant, which is the actual factor that is making the relationship possible. Now and this is the simple way to write the direct variation. So this is called the equation actually. And see, it's actually an equation. This now, because it's on this side now, this will now be the dependent variable, and this will be the independent variable here in this equation. So the next one we have indirect variation. For the indirect variation, you are going to have a question like x varies indirectly or inversely. That is another name. Indirectly or inversely. Inverse variation. So when you have varies inversely, it's going to be like this, inversely. So this is the reciprocal of y. This is the reciprocal of y. So we have, now mathematically it's going to be x equal to k multiplied by 1 over y, which is going to be x equal to k over y. And this is the relationship between x and y. Then you can begin to impute your values, the values that will be given to you, and begin to impute them and get your answer. Thank you very much for watching this video. We are going to join me in the next video where we are going to be solving questions, and as well as we're going to go from easy questions to the more complex ones. Thank you. Please do well to subscribe and click the bell below so that you'll be notified whenever I drop videos like this and useful contents like this. Thank you very much.